Hey everybody, how are ya? Happy Friday, 'cause it is Friday. I'll scooch on over. Okay, so happy Friday, everyone. I'm going to wait for Facebook to do its thing, but the title of tonight's video is Preparation. In and out of seasons, we need to be prepared, hands down. And what on earth does that look like? What does it mean I need to prepare for different seasons? Do you mean I have to go collect food, water, cans, nickels, dimes? What does being prepared in and out of season mean? It's a word I've been marinating on today, and I'm on here a little bit later than normal just because it was one of those days. And then at the time I was going to start my video, I got some important news, so I will be sharing that on another video probably. But I just want to talk to you tonight about what it means to prepare and how you can keep preparing even when things go right. Okay? So, let's wait for Facebook to do its thing. So how was your day today? I pray that your day went well, and I pray that your evening is going even better. I'm going to start inviting folks because I really want to get started on tonight's video. I'm just going to send an invitation to some people. Matt, can you turn that down, please? Thank you. Okay. So, I know there's a lot of things going on in the news. Someone's coming. Someone's going to pause. You leaving? Yeah. All right, have a good one. All right, so there's a lot of things in the news, and I'm not going to do a video about all that stuff. I was wanting to do a video to encourage the people who work for the government because they've been part of a government shutdown, and just keep everyone who is needing encouragement in prayer. You know what I'm saying? Because it's easy to start getting into wars and whatever, pointing fingers and being mad at decisions being made, but there are things that we cannot honestly control, and so those who are part of that, my prayers go out to you, and praying that this gets over very soon, because not being without a paycheck is pretty tough. Very tough. I know. I've been there. And alright, so I'm almost done inviting some folk. I know it's Friday night, so I know a lot of people probably aren't on because maybe they're, busy doing other things. And I know for a lot of the folks I know, it's Shabbat Shalom, which is a night of rest and peace. And so it's where a lot of people will not go on social media or TV for like from sundown Friday night. Turn that down, please, to Saturday night. And so I've been trying to not be on social media as often as I've been, but anyway, that's a work in progress. But I think anyhow, okay. So now that I have invited some people, I'm gonna okay, I'm just gonna get started because I know people will start coming on. Okay, are you ready? Let's talk. Ready? Shall we? So there are different seasons that we all go through, right? There's seasons of plenty and seasons of without. Seasons of like buku, and then seasons of like less. Seasons of more, seasons of little, right? And so there are different seasons that we all walk in. Maybe some of you are in a season of what I just said. Maybe you're in a season of plenty, and maybe you are also in a season of maybe doors have shut and maybe you're without a job, or maybe you're part of the job shutdowns that have been taking place. Maybe you've been in a season of lack. Maybe you've been without for a while, and maybe maybe you're in a season of losing some things. Maybe you've lost some friendships. Maybe you've lost, I don't know. So there's just different seasons that we all go through, right? We all have to go through some type of a season. I have gone through a season of being without employment for a long time. But I'm grateful for that season, because in that season, I had to learn how to prepare for the next season. Because see, when we're in seasons, it doesn't matter whether it's plentiful or beautiful or great, we all have to prepare for what's to come next. Because if you're not in that season of without, you soon will be. What do I mean by that? Well, you'll have to start spending less on groceries. Instead of spending $300 a week or a month on food, that's a lot, by the way, on food, actually a week. Yeah, if you're the weekly spenders, maybe you're spending $300 a month, whatever. So let's just say so maybe now you have to spend like $150, and that can be difficult because now you have to figure out a different way of doing things. By the way, war on debt can definitely help you in that season, but help you learn how to spend less and be able to still have enough to last you through the entire week. Okay, it also is a tool to help you prepare for in season and out of season. So I want to read to you something real quick. It's in 2 Timothy chapter 4, verse 2. Hey, Anna. It says, proclaim the word, be urgent, in season, out of season. Convict, warn, appeal with all patience and teaching. So I wanted to read that to you because we are instructed to be, hey, Sarah, we are instructed to be prepared in season and out of season. That's what God's word is saying. Then it says that for there shall be a time when they shall not bear sound teaching, but according to their own desires they shall heap up for themselves teachers tickling the ear. Then it says, and they shall indeed turn their ears away from the truth and be turned aside to myths. Here's why I read all of that. Because a lot of times when we go through seasons, a lot of times we don't want to hear what people are trying to tell us because we think we know it all or we have it all together. Because maybe you're not in a season of lack. Maybe you're in a season of plenty. And so a lot of times, instead of wanting to hear like sound teaching from people who can help us prepare for the next seasons that are coming, we turn our ears off. We turn down the sound. We turn off everything. We don't want to hear it because we know you know what I'm saying? But what the word is encouraging us to do is to be in season and out of season prepared. There is the 5 P's that the Girl Scouts say. Proper preparation prevents poor performance. Now, that's pretty much. So, let's talk about the kinds of things that we prepare for, right? I wrote it down in my notes. We prepare for marathons, games, fights, health, school, jobs. What else do we prepare for? We prepare for job interviews, right? We prepare for, maybe our lunches for the next day, or maybe you have kids, so you have to prepare for something. And if you don't prepare for anything, chances are things won't happen right unless we are prepared, right? But there's part of the preparation that needs to happen, that doesn't always happen, is in one place that I've seen in my own personal life that is 185% necessary. And that is to be prepared in a season of waiting. What does a season of waiting look like? Well, turn that down, please. A season of waiting looks like maybe you are looking for work, Okay, so you gotta fill out you gotta have a resume. You gotta have maybe letters of recommendation if you can. Then you have to fill out applications, fill out stuff online. You gotta prepare for that, and that's like you're waiting for something, right? Maybe you're waiting for, a promotion or something. But let's just say you're in a season of waiting. We all have been there, or maybe we're there right now, or maybe you've been there and you're like, yeah, I get it. Matthew, I need you to please turn that down. Okay. Thank you. Okay, much appreciation. So when we are in that season of waiting, a lot of times we get antsy and we don't feel like we have to prepare because we think that whatever's going to come is just going to come land in our laps. But let me tell you something. What does preparation in the waiting look like? I'm going to tell you what that looks like. As I was talking about seasons, maybe there's things where like times, hey Sonia, maybe there's times where like you've had seasons of little where everything seemed to be going kaputs into crap, and maybe you're losing, things, and as I mentioned, jobs, pay, maybe the business went kaputs, maybe, kids are acting up, maybe you're having some trouble in your marriage, or maybe relationships, and so we go through seasons of little, and then we go through seasons of plenty where everything seems like it's going fine. In the story of Joseph in the Bible, they had a season of plenty, and then followed by 7 years of a season of little. Now, if Joseph hadn't been prepared in his season of waiting in prison for a few years, he would not have been able to save Israel, right? Israel? He would not have been able to save the land from the, not drought, but the food, right? Because they went without food for a long time. 7 years is a long time, by the way. But because Joseph had prepared himself while he was in prison, he was able to lead Pharaoh into, he was able to be like the number one man that kept that land from starving. And people from all over were coming because of his preparation. So there are lots of things to prepare for, because in season and out of season, you're going to be going through something and you're going to be like, man, why didn't I prepare for that? So here, and I gave you some things of what you can prepare for, like emergencies happen, right? Like we all need to be prepared for an emergency, because let's face it, we don't always know or expect emergencies to happen. There should be, it's not like we wake up every day saying, oh my gosh, something bad's going to happen today. I hope you're not one of those people, because, man, you're living in a state of distress. Don't do that. But yes, we do need to be prepared for things, right? I'm also speaking to myself here. But there's the season of waiting that I'm talking about that a lot of people don't realize, and I'm one of those people that didn't realize what preparing in a season of waiting actually looked like. See, I went around the same mountains in my life for many years, and I didn't understand the purpose or the reason of preparation for a season of without. I didn't understand what that really looked like. I thought it was like things that I could put my hands on, like cash, food, that kinds of things. But there's something else that people really don't prepare while they're in a season of waiting. They don't have this part down, and I didn't either. And because I didn't, I had to, like I said, go around the same mountain. It happened in jobs, it happened in relationships, but more so jobs. Every time I have to fill out my job history. Let's just face it, there's part of me that is like, oh my gosh, I could have done so much better. But I'm also reminded that I've invested in skill sets now so that I don't have to repeat the same mountain. But thank God. Thank goodness for that. Amen. But in the preparing for the waiting, it actually happened recently. So I've been out of work since, all of last year was an upheaval, and then job situations, and then had a job laid off at the beginning of the year, had a job in February, assignment ended without my knowledge in May, and then I was without work from like June until recently. So, but I had to prepare in that season of waiting, and here's what preparation looked like for me. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because someone out there needs to hear how to prepare for the next thing that's coming in your life. You can prepare financially, you can prepare relationally, you can prepare your family, you can prepare yourself, but it isn't until you really start preparing and getting everything worked out and you work on yourself that things won't change. You won't be prepared for what's next if you're still hanging on to what was. That's good. Somebody write that down. Somebody type that in the comments. You won't be prepared for what's next if you're still if you're still holding on to what was. I should write that down myself. But write it in the comments, right? Because if you're still holding on to what was, you can't focus on the new because you're so focused on the old. Maybe the old way of doing things, maybe people treated you like garbage. Maybe people called you names. Maybe people used you like a piece of trash. Maybe they didn't speak to you respectfully or honorably. Maybe you were bullied. Maybe you were, let's just say, mistreated and abused and dishonored and disrespected. And instead of working that out and leaving that in the past season, you carry it with you to the new seasons. That's what I was doing. I was carrying things with me into new seasons, but the same thing would happen and I would still be carrying the old things that were happening, and I would be thinking that those old things were still happening in the new. And God had to get me to a place where he's like, look, sister friend, you ain't going to move forward until we get this right. You cannot have what I am preparing for you if you aren't going to get things right. What does that mean? Well, over the course of, I don't know, all of last year, pretty much, God had to get my attention somehow. He had to get me to a place to lay things down, to no longer carry the old things that I was carrying around with me in past seasons, like from years ago, okay? And he had to get me to a place where he's like, okay, now you're ready, because I have something better for you. But Tiffany, if you can understand, you've got to let things go. So here's what that looked like. Whenever God is getting ready to move you into a new season, he will start preparing you. How will he do that? He will bring people across your path that can speak into your life and give you tools and resources that you need to start the process. He will bring he'll bring videos, he'll bring books, he'll bring resources, he'll bring things you do like prayers. Maybe he'll bring a scripture to mind and you go look it up in the Word of God, which I have right here. He will start having you prepare, and he will do it in a manner that will get your attention so that you can have greater results, and so that you can say, man, I'm so glad I went through that process so that I can go into the new, because where I'm going into the new, that old stuff isn't going to go. We can sit here all day long, folks, and say, well, you know, where we're going, we can't take the old. But it isn't until we start working on that and getting prepared for the new that we can't walk into the new. You know why the Israelites couldn't walk into the promised land for 40 years? You know why Moses couldn't cross over? Why he looked at it but couldn't cross over it? It's because they were complaining. God was he had taken them out of the slavery, right, from the Egyptians, but they complained. They were not allowing God to prepare them mentally turn that down, please, to be able to cross over into the promised land. Okay? What did they say? What did they do? They complained. They spoke words of doubt and unbelief. They didn't believe in their leader. They thought that God was out to get them, pretty much. And God was like, are you kidding me? I part the Red Sea. I bring down, what's that called? Manna and meat from heaven for you. on your doorstep. Hello, hello. I give you healing things when snakes bite you. I bring water out of a rock, and that's how you repay me? Okay. And then they start worshiping other gods. See, they wanted to go to the new season, but their hearts were not ready. They were not fully prepared for what was to come. And because of that, God had to get them to a place to be able to go to the new. And so it unfortunately took 40 years, but they were able to do that. So I'm on this video tonight to tell you it doesn't have to take 40 years. In fact, it doesn't have to even take you 5 years. It doesn't have to take you 10 years or 15 years. It can take you 2, and it can even take you the rest of this year to start working on things to prepare. So that way, this time next year, you will be able to go to that place that you really want to go to. I'm not talking about a physical place. I'm talking about places that you have to go around the same mountain over and over again because the results you're getting are still the same. For me, it was in jobs. I was trying my best to do really good in jobs and stuff, and there were some old remnants and things that I had to get rid of in order to be able to do the new job that I'll be doing. And so what is that preparation process? I'm glad you asked. That preparation process is this. It is forgiveness. It is prayer. It is getting delivered from the same things. It is, but more importantly, forgiveness. It is a process. It is preparing. It is getting in God's presence. It is chewing on the Word, getting in His presence. It is getting around people that can uplift you, people that can encourage you instead of agree with you when you're in the pit. Know what I'm saying? Preparing is laying down old things so that you are then able to receive the new things that God is getting ready to give you. See, the reason why a lot of people can't walk in the new, and then they can't, there's a reason why people are still stuck is because they won't forgive people who have done something to them. And so when other people do the thing or things that the people that we haven't forgiven do, we then hold that offense against those people when in fact it's not those people that we're really mad at. It's the other people whom we haven't forgiven. And even if we have forgiven them, if the same stuff, turn that down please, is still coming. Excuse me just a moment. Can you please turn that down?
I am.
Yes, Mom, thank you. Hey, baby, down a little more, please.
Oh.
I'm almost done with my video. Excuse me. So yeah. So each person that talks to you, because so and so talked to you in that manner, if you haven't forgiven that previous person or people, the new people that are talking to you will sound exactly like those old people, and now you're still stuck. So do you see how that works? You're still going around the same mountain, still doing the same thing, still expecting people to treat you a certain way when God's like, okay, stop. I can't do anything new for you until you are ready and until you start preparing for what I have in store for you. And you can't receive new things when you're still holding on to the old. You've got to let it go. You just have to let it go. There's no point in carrying around old stuff, is there? Because let's face it, when you move, do you want to bring old crap into a new place? No, you don't. That's what God is saying. I believe God is saying to many of us. He's saying, will you not just get to that place and prepare for what I have for you, for what's coming for that next season? Will you not just allow me to work? Will you not just humble yourself already and just get it over with? That's what he's saying. It's like, but sometimes we are people and we just fight it and we don't want to be worked on. But that's what preparing for a new season does. That's what preparation does. I'm telling you, I'm so grateful for the people that God sent in my path as of, I want to say July or August. Since August, man, he had me preparing for I think it was May. Anyway, it was like maybe close to the middle of last year. But I'm telling you, he started me on that journey, and I'm so grateful I didn't fight, because I was like, I'm done. I do not want to repeat the same, you know what I'm saying, stuff. I don't want to repeat the same patterns. I don't want to go into a new place of employment still carrying around how people used to treat me in other places of employment. I think one of my friends said that you cannot go into a new season until you complete the previous season. Did you know that? God won't allow you to move into a new season until you complete the old season. So you can continue going around the mountain, or you can stare at the mountain. You can climb up it, tackle it, tell it to go back to the sea, or you can still run around it. You choose how you want it to go. So, hey, Dwight, good evening to you. And in the seasons, I'm going to tell you something. It's easy to forget to prepare. When we're in a season of plenty, it's easy to forget where we were. It's easy to forget where we were in a season of lack, in a season of upheaval, in a season of I don't know what to do next, in a season of what is it? Famine. You know what? Famine, drought, okay? I'm using that as an example. It's easy to forget, but my prayer tonight is to say, God, don't ever let me forget. So my prayer to you tonight is, and I pray you remember this, write it down if you have to. Just say, God, don't ever let me forget where you've brought me from. Because it's when we forget that even in the times of plenty, we'll forget to pray. We will forget to thank him for what we had to go through to get to the new season of plenty. Does that make sense? We will forget all the doors he slammed in our faces so he can open up brand new doors. We will forget how he provided for us in the times that we needed him to provide for us. We'll forget. But my prayer is, God, don't ever let me forget where you brought me from, where I came from. Don't ever let me forget. You know that's a reason why I also share my testimonial of what he, hey dude, don't do that please, of what he brought me through, and to what he brought me out of. I thank God I was brought out of that. And I pray that he never lets me forget, so that people know that he's a rescuer. He saves us from detriment, torment. He does. Yes, it happens, and it's unfortunate, but I share it so that it's not to like stir up stuff. It's to so that I don't forget. And it's also to be a hope message for people, saying if he did it for me, he can do it for you. Telling you he won't keep you there. People are people. God gave people free will. It is not God that makes people do anything. It's people that decide to do things. People have choices every single day, but it's what they do with those choices. God is not responsible for the choices people make. Think about Adam and Eve. He did not force them to eat the apple. No one was holding a gun or a pitchfork to their head. I don't even think they had guns back then. Anyway, you get my point? No one was holding anything to their heads. They weren't being strangled. Maybe being strangled by a snake, but he's a sly, slithery liar. That's exactly what he is. He's got a bad day coming. By the way, we have the authority to trample on snakes. And when we drink poison, we won't be harmed. That's in his word, by the way. So you tell old Snakeface, resist the devil and he will flee from you. That's what his word says. Yeah, just like, have you seen that movie, The Passion of the Christ? At the beginning, they show Jesus praying in the garden, right? And then all of a sudden you see this snake that's slithering, and he's praying, and Jesus is praying, and the snake is coming slowly, and Jesus knows the snake is there. But when he's done praying, he stands up, and the music, it's like starting, and then he squashes the snake's head, like squashes it with his foot, and the music like cuts out, and then the movie starts. Isn't that cool? Isn't that cool? Think about that for a moment. And our adversary tries to get us to forget where we came from. But don't run from that. Yes, War Room. Girlfriend, you've got to see that. Do you have the movie? Get the movie. You can order it, Amazon, do something. Yeah, order it tonight. It is a great movie, guarantee you. Let's see. So in order to prepare, you gotta, I have IY. Sorry, I am not good with abbreviations. So we need to, in order to prepare, don't forget where you've come from. Make that your prayer. God, never let me forget. And it's not to keep you in a state of chaos and unforgiveness. No. Once we've forgiven, awesome. So do I. Movie night. But it's to keep us so that we remember, so that we can share of God's goodness. And that's what increases our faith. Okay. So, just real quick, also to keep preparing for when you're in a season of waiting, you got to break things off. Things have to be broken off. And like I said, I'm grateful for the things. Can you please turn that down? I'm almost done. Matt? Machu? Okay, so we got to break things off. I talked about deliverance. It's just getting to that place where you're like, you know what, God, I'm done. Here I am. Take this stuff. I don't want to carry it anymore. And then leave it where it's at. And God will walk you through that process. In fact, my prayer for you is that God will bring you the people that you need so that you can get free of the whatever it is, so that you can move into the next season and you won't have to bring the old crap with you. Okay? And I told you about the Israelites. Okay? Remember, they were left in the land of unhappiness, dry desert for 40 years because they forgot the goodness of God. They forgot. They complained. They were worshiping other idols. They were doing things that were not appropriate in God's sight. And he's like, you know what, dudes? And I'm paraphrasing. Tiffany's paraphrasing. He's like, you know what, dudes? I'm done. So you're going to have to stay here because you kind of put yourselves here. Good luck with that. It's not really what he said, but I'm paraphrasing what he said. Go read it yourselves. It's in the book of Genesis, I believe. Exodus. So last but not least, I want to leave you with this. The best thing to do is to continue to prepare to be ready in and out of seasons. That is the best thing to do. And if you would like to know, if you want to know what tips, tools, resources to utilize during to help you prepare for the next season, you can feel free to message me, or better yet, I've stopped saying that, please. I'm almost done. Thank you for your patience. Or the next thing to do would be to pray and just ask God to bring you what you need to help you prepare for your next season. And then get out a notebook and a pen, and he's going to tell you. And when he tells you, write it down. Don't be afraid to write it down. Write down the words God says to you, because you can go back, write the date, write down every word that he gives you. It's when you pray, the first thing that lands in your spirit, that is his voice speaking to you. Ask the Holy Spirit to help you hear God's voice as well. But my prayer for each and every one that is watching and that will be watching is this: that God, that you bring each and every person the resources assigned to help them in their season, to get them to their destiny, so that people are no longer walking around with the old stuff, so that they can embrace the new and what's to come, so they will be prepared for their next season that you have for them. So in Jesus' name, amen. Y'all have a great weekend. I do not know if I'm going to come on here in the weekend. Who knows? I might. Sunday. You never know. I might have a little word. But I'm really excited. greater things have, greater things are yet to come. Greater things are still to be done in the city. All right, so with that being said, I've got to go. Thank you so much for spending time with me here, and when you could have been doing anything else on a Friday night. And I'm just looking at my notes to make sure I didn't forget anything. And so yeah, start preparing in season and out of season. And even when you're in a season of plenty, just keep preparing for that season that's going to happen. For when you're without, so that way you have everything that you need, and keep seeking Him daily, keep seeking God daily. You will, He will give you the steps to continue preparing. All you have to do is ask. So I love ya. Bye.